So my voice wasn't actually recording for this, so I'm just going to do a little voiceover for the first few sections. All this video is me doing a few upgrades to the BMW R because I bought a few things over the winter. The first of these, as you'll see, is a little battery tender cable. This is so that I can charge my battery or just do a jump start or just keep the battery maintained, maybe with a solar charger over the periods when I'm not using it, without having to take the battery, the tank on and off. Because as you can see, it's quite a pain to take the tank on and off. The other purchase was to replace this seat. So you can see the seat here has a small little tear, scratch mark, which is starting to get worse. And so I went onto Facebook, one of the groups, someone was selling a second-hand seat, which I picked up for £20, and it was £10 delivery. So all in all, that should fit quite nicely. To go with those, I've got a quality of life improvement. I use my phone as a sat-nav, so I've got a mirror mount quad lock knockoff of eBay, which should mount to my mirror, so allow me to use my phone. It comes with a little vibration dampener, which is quite nice. And then the final thing you can just see here are some tyre valve caps, which have the BMW logo on them, because I'm getting fancy and I found them on the internet nice and cheap. Right, so what we'll do is we'll get straight into the fitting now. So you can see I've taken the tank fully off, just so I can get easy access to the battery terminals, and I'm disconnecting the negative terminal first and then the positive before connecting it up the other way around. That's to avoid any kind of issues with the shorting out across any connections or anything else like that. But this battery little tender cable tether is really simple. It's just a case of taking off those two bolts, one on either side, and then connecting it all back up again. You can see I'm just going to put the cap back on and leave this sat physically underneath the seat, so it's not going to be visible outside of the bike. It's just going to sit in the cavity that the seat has. You see the tank's back on now, and it's just started to spit down with rain and a little bit of hail. And I've picked up the old seat here, so you can see that the old seat looks to be slightly thicker or bigger, because when it sits on the bike, it sits very well flush front and rear, even with just lightly placed there, look. With the second one, or the replacement, you'll see it's a little bit gappy at the front and the rear, and this is because it needs to be raised up on the internal raising sections to be the top tier. So it's a slightly thinner, lower profile seat for those of shorter stature, but I'm going to raise it up so it fits better. You'll also see it started hailing really heavily, and I'm making a sprint for inside, and in about 5-10 minutes I'll come back outside once it finishes hailing and get everything else set up. 5-10 minutes later it's stopped hailing and the blue skies come back out. So I've got the tank and all the fairings now fitted. What you can see is the seat is now in place, and it was the correct seat. And more importantly, it's all complete. It's no tears in it or anything else like that, which means we can move on to quality of life upgrades. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this mounted on the mirror. So what I'll do is I'll bring you around onto the other side so you can see how I'm going to do that. This is just a knockoff quad lock. And what I think I'll do first is get this secured here and get this then keyed correctly for my phone. Now, again, like quad lock, it does actually come with Allen keys for it. So this should be a very simple job. Get the smaller Allen key. Now, I think this ring's a bit too small. Again, it does come with a selection of rings. Is this one about right? Looks pretty close. What's the other one look like? Yeah, let's go for the middle size. So in theory, all I got to do is just clamp this around here, and this bolt will go through. I've actually got the official quad lock on the Versys, but these bar mounts are different, and so I have to use a mirror mount. I found this on eBay for, I think it was £5–6. So we'll see how well it holds up. It seems to be securely mounted there. Don't want to over torque it, but that feels good. So now the next thing is to clock this correctly relative to my position. So I want my phone to be roughly vertical and horizontal. So I'm using that axis there. It also came with a knockoff vibration dampener, which again, interesting to see how well that works. I don't mind if my phone camera gets knackered, because it is an old iPhone 8 I use specifically for when I'm out riding. And there we go. Doesn't block my mirror too much. Can also have it that way around. Again, doesn't block the mirror too much. It keeps me good and easy reach to the handlebars, and importantly, my fast idle. So that was not a bad £5–6 spent on eBay. Quite pleased with that. Okay. Next up, I got these little valve covers, the BMW branded, just I think like £3 on eBay, and it just made me giggle. So they twist off here and twist on here. No one's going to notice this apart from me, so I don't know why I'm doing it, but I think it just makes me feel happy. Alright, just do the back. So that's everything fitted. Valve covers for the tyres, new quad lock, battery tender, and a new seat. I'm not too keen on the seat sitting so low around the back here. My other ones seem to be a bit taller or thicker in the rear here. So there's a bit of a gap forming there, which I'm not 100% with, but it is securely in and everything works. So I can't really complain because it's definitely in one piece. I think maybe it might just be on a lower mounting setting somewhere, so I might have a look at that at a further point. Because again, there's a gap here, which makes me think it's on a low setting and maybe it needs to go up. So I'll give that a fiddle with and see what that is. In the meantime, in between raindrops, you can see we've done a little bit of work on the Boxer. I think I'll go back onto the K series now, but over Christmas I did pick up quite a few little bits, so it's nice just to update what we can. All right, thanks very much and see you soon.